Hello, Steve Beltramo here, proud to represent interRel Consulting for this week's webcast, Sticking with Hyperion Planning, How to Sustain, Evolve, and Grow in 2020. This session is pre-recorded, but if you have any questions, you can send them over to info@interrel.com. This recording will also be available for replay from our website. Before I dive into today's webcast, let me take just a minute to say a few words about interRel. For 23 years, interRel has maintained a strong focus on building relationships with their customers and assisting them in their endeavors to improve business performance through data analytics. interRel has a long-standing relationship with Oracle and has won many awards for implementing outstanding and innovative EPM and BI solutions for our customers. In 2019, we won the Oracle Analytics Partner of the Year Award, as well as the Global and North America Partner of the Year Award. In fact, interRel is a 5-time winner of Oracle's BI and EPM Partner of the Year. We also have a large percentage of Oracle ACE directors, ACEs, and alumni, and have written over 10 best-selling books on EPM Cloud, Hyperion, Essbase, and Oracle BI. As a full-service consulting company, interRel offers strategic assessments, consulting services, staffing and infrastructure services, cloud implementations, training, press, and support services. Again, we have many partnerships with Oracle and are the most experienced with cloud specializations and implementations. We hope you'll continue to join us for a weekly Wednesday webcast. Next week, we have Essbase is Not Dead, exciting features for on-prem Essbase in version 19C. Then March 11th, we have a deep dive, understanding financial consolidation and close application and dimension design. The following week, March 18th, we have Essbase Cube Builder, go from spreadsheet to Essbase to data visualization in 5 minutes or less. Then Enterprise Planning Freeform Planning 101, how to build Essbase cubes in freeform planning on March 25th. And then April 1st is EPM bundle migration. Just a reminder, Kscope is coming up June 28th through July 2nd, 2020 in Boston this year. If you haven't been, Kscope is the premier EPM and Hyperion annual user conference. You can register with ODTUG and make sure to use the discount code IRC20 to get $100 off registration, compliments of interRel. And don't forget to browse our Play It Forward site, which has loads of helpful short videos with all sorts of content for new product introductions to technical reference videos. Just search on epm.bi/videos. Finally, interRel has written many books on various EPM products, both on-prem and in the cloud. If you're interested in one of our books, contact us at info@interrel.com. You can also purchase at least some of these online. In the 5 years I've been with interRel, the cloud has really taken off, but there's been very little advancement in on-prem EPM until now. So if you're still using Hyperion Planning on-prem, this webcast should provide some information that may be helpful to decide your next move. Perhaps you've heard that Oracle has finally released an upgrade to on-premises Hyperion Planning. For those of you who are still not sure about migrating to the cloud yet, this is really good news. But there's still some things to consider, so stay tuned. Yes, version EPM 11.2 was released in December 2019. The release is primarily a back end release, including an uplift to Fusion Middleware 12G and a simplification of the repository. Essbase 11.1.2.4 will still be used in the meantime until eventually being uplifted to 19C. This 11.2 release is not yet about new features. Those will come in patch sets, which will be released over the coming months. Support for 11.2 currently extends through 2030. And then for 11.1.2.4, Oracle will provide updates through 2020 and will offer premier support through 2021. Again, the initial uplift is to Fusion Middleware 12G. Essbase will remain at version 11.1.2.4 for the time being and will eventually be uplifted to 19C. Repository simplification involves replacing foundation services with simpler relational database management system repository and will involve migrating content for financial reporting and for workspace. Major third-party certifications include for operating systems, Windows 2019, Linux 7, and soon AIX 7.2, and then for databases, Oracle 12.2 and SQL Server 2016. Of course, JDK 1.8 or 1.8. More details on 11.2. Calc Manager will no longer require Adobe Flash. Upgrading to 11.2 should be an out-of-place installation / migration, utilizing new hardware and using lifecycle management to migrate the application and related artifacts to the new environment. One important point is that migration is designed for migration from 11.1.2.4 to 11.2. So if you're on an older version, you'll need to probably need to upgrade before you can migrate to 11.2. So that covers a technical upgrade. Enhancements will be delivered through patch set updates, PSUs, that are developed based on feedback and ongoing new features. 11.2 is currently to be supported through 2030 at least. With 11.2, customers will be able to take advantage of continuous innovation through patch set updates, as opposed to major upgrades, at least through 2030. The intention is to deliver enhancements that are driven by customer demand. The new features should be easier to adopt due to a more nimble delivery mechanism. Could be thought of as somewhat of a goal to be able to run the same application either on-prem or in the cloud. Oracle intends to maintain transparent product roadmap and to continue to invest in R&D. So first of all, let's look at what will be discontinued, 11.2. For planning, there will be no Hyperion Strategic Finance or Crystal Ball. They're eliminating the simplified interface for on-prem. And then additionally, the modules, workforce planning, capital expense, project financial planning will not exist in 11.2. Offline planning is going away as well, and HFM, FM analytics is going away, as is the Essbase analytics link for HFM, as it is quantitative management reporting for solvency. Hyperion Disclosure Management will be discontinued, as will Hyperion BI Plus products, interactive reporting, production reporting, and web analysis. The EPM mobile app, and finally, EPMA will be discontinued in conjunction with the 11.2 release. Yes, it's true. EPMA is finally being discontinued. There may be some of you that miss it, I suppose, but I think more will be glad to get out from under it. If you do have a need for managing metadata for multiple applications, Oracle is offering DRM as a solution. Since EPMA is not supported going forward, let's look at some other options for metadata management. Later in the webcast, I'll go over some good options that include classic or non-EPMA applications have had at their disposal that are continuing in 11.2. But also, if you're using EPMA because you have a complicated metadata management needs, you may want to consider the DRM offering. It's a powerful tool with a lot of features, and it's been around for quite some time. It is a restricted use license for Oracle EPM dimension maintenance only. If you choose to go this route, I understand there's a migration kit available that you may want to look into. So this slide is an introduction to the new features that are coming in the patch set release updates. So for Hyperion Planning, there's extended attribute support. Attributes will be available in forms for data entry and for reporting. Smart Push is a feature that uses data maps to move data from one cube to another and can be attached to forms, push data from on save of the form. Valid intersections simplifies planning and prevents errors by limiting the intersections in which users can input data. With FDME, you will be able to build dimensions and load metadata. Smart View will be able to be launched from Chrome and will be available with Office 365 with limited functionality. For HFM, configurable automatic consolidations, pretty big enhancement. Also, there's enhanced insights archiving and a native metadata editor. For HPCM, Hyperion Profitability and Cost Management, has some expanded custom calc logic and POV support for those large outlines. Financial reporting now offers book and batch output to Microsoft Office. Also, multi-report editing in the Web Studio, and it also has a new repository. So the next set of slides will go over into a bit more detail about some of the coming features. Since the features are not available yet, these screenshots represent how they look in the cloud. They should look similar in 11.2 once they're released in the PSUs. This screenshot demonstrates the new attribute dimension support and planning for reports, forms, runtime prompts, and user variables. The screenshot is a cloud dashboard that shows how the market size attribute on the entity dimension will be available for cross-tab reporting in 11.2. So when designing forms, look for the attribute dimensions in their own section. As you can see, attribute dimensions, product type, and sales director are available in the middle of this form. Then you can move the attributes to rows or columns to report on them. Next feature Valid intersections determine where users can input data. The valid intersections are defined through an administrative process, which is currently a manual process, but Oracle is also in the process of developing an import feature. The screenshot shows a valid intersection setup for the scenario dimension members in a planning cloud application. This screenshot shows what a form looks like with valid intersections from a user perspective. The grayed out rows are invalid intersections that are read-only on the form, but they can also be suppressed. POV and page selections that result in an invalid intersection in a form will generate an error. Validation rules can be enabled in the web or in SmartView, and a report can be created to locate any data that happens to make it into invalid intersections. Users will appreciate the valid intersections because they're directed to the information that pertains to them, which ultimately speeds up the planning process for everyone. Data maps are a feature currently in the cloud and soon to be available on-prem in 11.2. Data maps are used to push data from one cube to another within an application. The mappings can be set up either dimension to dimension, or you can map from a smart list to a dimension. Data maps are an excellent alternative to X-rate, XREF, and partitioning. A common use case is pushing data from a BSO cube to an ASO reporting cube within an application. On setting up a data map, dimensions that have the same names for both the source and the target will match up automatically, level 0 members by default, but you can manually change the mappings. And for pushing data to an ASO database, you should only map level 0 members. Here's a screenshot of what a data map looks like in the cloud, coming soon to on-prem. The map demonstrates another common use case, which is pushing compensation data from workhorse cube to a financials cube. On the left are the dimensions in the source cube, workforce planning, as mapped to the targets on the right. Dimensions below the horizontal line are the unmapped dimensions for each of the cubes. A data map can be executed manually with the option on the right to push data. They can also be scheduled or attached to data forms by using a feature called Smart Push. Smart Push allows users to push data from a data form that has been set up with a data map. This is a great feature that can keep reporting cubes up to date with the latest information that has just been entered. A few things to keep in mind when using Smart Push. You have to have at least one data map in the Smart Push. And Smart Push only works from a BSO database, but can push to a BSO or ASO database. Smart Push honors metadata and approval security, and at least one dense dimension needs to be mapped dimension to dimension in the data map. And finally, if the target cube dimensionality changes, you'll need to synchronize the data in the data map. To set up Smart Push, there's a Smart Push tab in Form Design. Select a data map and then set what you want to push. Either check Use Form Content to push the data from the members on the form, or if you want to push something else than the data members on the form, don't check Use Form Context and instead enter the selection in Overwrite Selection. And then finally, check Run on Save if you want the data map to execute on save. Otherwise, the user can execute Smart Push manually through a menu option. This slide shows how to manually execute Smart Push in the cloud. On the data form, there's a drop-down action menu. Select the option Smart Push details, and then click on the name of the Smart Push to execute it, and there's a response after it executes. So the next few slides summarize the statements of direction that were disclosed by Oracle to indicate the strategic direction of some of the on-prem products that customers may be wondering about. So first of all, for capital asset planning, project financial planning, workforce planning, strategic finance, and crystal ball, the last version, these are available are 11.1.2.4, and they will not be available at 11.2. For 11.1.2.4, defects and enhancements will be addressed through 2020, and then these products will be supported through 2021. For these items, there is similar functionality in the cloud. Oracle recommends preparing a migration plan to the cloud. Simplified user interface will also be discontinued after 11.1.2.4, so Workspace will be the web interface 11.2. For offline planning, EPM mobile, disclosure management, these are also discontinued, not available in 11.2. Reporting products, interactive reporting, production reporting, and web analysis are all discontinued and not available in 11.2. For these products, Oracle is also recommending preparing a migration plan to either Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation Suite or OBIEE. And then finally, Essbase Studio and Essbase Administration Services are discontinued after 11.1.2.4. However, 11.2 will initially include Essbase version that is in 11.1.2.4. As I understand, these will effectively tag along and at least until Essbase is uplifted to 19C. Future plans for these is that they will be incorporated into other provided administrative user interfaces. So in regards to financial reporting, the long-term strategic direction is narrative reporting and management reporting, which are in the cloud. Financial reporting for the web is available on-prem and in the cloud. Client version of FR was deprecated back in 2017, so probably want to start using the web version if you haven't already. So for the next set of slides, I'm going to review some features that you may have thought were only available in the cloud, but they're actually available on-prem as well. First one of these is predictive planning, which accesses historical data defined by selected members on a form, analyzes that data, takes into account seasonal variations and trends, and predicts future values based on this information. Predictive analytics allows you to utilize statistical prediction scenarios. The tool is useful for sanity checking your forecast. You can compare your base case forecast to the statistical projections, provide base case, worst case, best case, worst case scenarios. You can review forecasted values, make changes, and even submit them back to planning. Predictive planning downloads are available via the Tools menu in Workspace or from Oracle software download site. Once you have predictive planning downloaded and installed, connect to planning in SmartView, and you should see the predict button whether you are in ad hoc or in a form. Predictive planning does have some rules for form design. You must validate the form, which must have a series axis containing one or more non-time dimensions, like a count or entity. It also must have a time axis containing the year or period for both year and period dimensions. Dimensions must appear in one and only one axis. Scenario inversion dimensions can be on either axis. And finally, the form must not be empty. And then to paste to a scenario on the form, data must be available in the scenarios inversion that is set up in application details, and the target scenario must be editable on the form. Then to run predictive planning, click on predict and it will scan the form and a run confirmation will pop up that allows you to make some changes for some of the members and date ranges parameters for both the historical data and for the prediction. And then finally, for the prediction, after the prediction is run, a run summary pops up to inform you of success, or if there are any warnings or errors. Review the results history and predictions in grid and graphical format. So the next useful feature that is available on-prem is import-export dimensions. Many of you probably already use this feature unless you're using EPMA. And if you're using EPMA and you know it's going away, you may consider this as one option to maintain metadata. For Workspace, this is the option to import and export metadata from and to a CSV file. In this example, we've selected export metadata to a file, and we're exporting the product dimension. The export is really fast and prompts you to either open the file or download it. Then you can review the details of the export job to review things such as the status, number of records that were exported, as well as other details about the process. When you export a dimension using this feature, you will select the dimension to import. When you import a dimension using this feature, you'll select the dimension to import, browse to the file to import, and make any selections options that are applicable. For example, you can include a data set, a database refresh after import, or you can delete all the members prior to importing. Perhaps you want to use the sort order in the import file or sort the members in parent-child order. Once you've made your selections, you have the option to validate the load prior to running it. Then click Run to import the dimension file. This is an example of a dimension export CSV file. One simple and common process to maintaining metadata is to use an export file as a template. Changes can be made and then the import file can be loaded back in. A few things to consider about using these dimension files for imports. Column headers must be exact or it'll error out, and they are case sensitive. As a CSV, if you open in Excel to manipulate, member names and aliases that begin with a leading 0 can be problematic. Properties that are unspecified will adopt defaults or inherited values. finally, column order doesn't matter for planning. Once you have made the changes to your file, you can import the dimension. And if you like the dimension import export feature, you'll also like the fact that it can be automated using a command line planning utility that can be used to write a simple batch script that can be set up to run on a schedule. Write a simple command such as this to call the outline load utility, log in and specify the application name, which is after the /a, the function to perform, which is the /I, which is import here, /d for dimension, which is account, and then where to put the log and error files. Very simple, but powerful. Read up on the outline load utility for other parameters. So I just have a few more slides to summarize where we are and how to think about where to go from here. This slide lists many features that are available in the cloud, but are not available on-prem as of 11.1.2.4. This slide shows the same features, but some of the features are indicated in green that are going to be added through the 11.2 patch that updates. So valid intersections, attribute dimension support, and smart push are all features that we covered that are coming soon, but all the rest of these are TBD. So if you want these other features, they're available now in the cloud, or you can provide feedback to Oracle that you want some of these on-prem, because new feature releases are said to be demand-driven going forward. So here's a quick recap of on-prem updates. On-prem is not going away. 11.2 has been available since December 2019 and will be supported through 2030 as long as you keep up with the patches. There's no new update for the functionality patches, maybe 2020. Summer 2020 is what I understand. 11.2 is an out-of-place upgrade. So installing the software on new hardware, import the artifacts via LCM files from 11.1.2.4 version. EPMA is going away. DRM is offered as a replacement under restricted use license for on-prem Hyperion applications. There are a lot of products and features that are discontinued prior to 11.2, primarily because there's no migration path to the cloud for them. Also, finally, the simplified user interface is gone for 11.2. So you may be wondering if you should be building any new on-prem applications. The answer could be a resounding sure, but consider the following, keeping in mind design for if you're already a user of Hyperion Planning and want to build new applications. Don't use EPMA. Use Calc Manager for rules, not EAS. Use the planning connection for Smart View. Don't build a lot of composite forms because they're not available in the cloud, so you won't be able to migrate those. And basically consider anything new with the cloud in mind. If you're talking about Essbase, you can add reporting and analytic cubes to your existing Essbase solution. For OBIE, you can add new dashboards to your existing OBIE solution. Overall, just be mindful that if you build something new, what will be involved when you eventually, if you eventually migrate to a cloud environment. So basically, same question, but should I be out building new applications on-prem? And if you consider these cases, the answer would probably be maybe not. New application modules. So should you build new applications using modules, right? Workforce, CapEx, etc. So these are not offered in 11.2, and so you might strongly consider a migration to the cloud at this point. I haven't done much testing to bring these over from 11.1.2.4, but in theory they should work. But the fact is they're not available to initiate in 11.2 and won't be supported. So that makes me think that building new modules on-prem is not a good direction to take. Basically, the rest of this list is recommending that you not create anything substantial that doesn't have a clear migration path to the cloud. HFM consolidation solution, reconciliation process, new profitability and cost management allocation solution, massive new reporting project, or new enterprise dashboards, self-service solution. If you are planning on embarking on any of these types of projects, please consider initiating them in the cloud. Otherwise, they'll be, totally custom application. So whether you're planning on upgrading to 11.2 or not, if you're looking to direct your on-prem development activities strategically to ease an eventual migration to the cloud, here's a list of features and functionality that will help in that endeavor. Use simple forms as opposed to composite forms. Action menus, task lists, approvals, also in the cloud. Convert EAS scripts over to Calc Manager business rules. Switch over to Classic if you're currently on PMA. Use Financial Reporting Web Studio, FDMEE if you have it. And if you're not going to 11.2, you can use a simplified user interface, which is quite similar to the cloud for dimension building and loading data. If you plan on using on-prem for the long term and don't plan on updating to 11.2 or don't keep up with the patch set updates, you could run into some compatibility issues. There could be some workaround solutions to host older versions of Excel, Internet Explorer to use with your older on-prem version, but to minimize issues for your users, you should probably upgrade to the latest EPM version and keep up with the patch sets. One thing though, for admins that are using EAS, before you update your JRE, make sure that the version is compatible with your version of EAS. And then you'll want to make sure that you maintain adequate IT support, as you'll need their help with version upgrades, patch set updates, in addition to third-party certificate support, security, and protection and stability. So while Oracle produces a ton of resources for the cloud, there's not as much these days for on-prem. Here are some good blogs for on-prem, and they do have the basic documentation as well for administrators and users, but you might want to check out these blogs. So hopefully this website has, this webcast has provided some insight into the roadmap for on-prem and will help you evaluate whether to stick with on-prem Hyperion or to migrate to the cloud. And maybe the next step for you is to use some kind of a decision-making tool such as this to help you decide your next move, whether you want to go to the cloud or upgrade to 11.2. And then if you want to find out more information about interRel consulting, assessment, training, and support services, please contact us at epm.bi/learn more. Thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions, please direct them to Robin at rklaterbow@interrel.com or info@interrel.com. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.